Hey, what up, Q? What up, Radio World?
Coming to you live from the Jackson, Mississippi metro area. Today is Monday, February the 5th, and this is episode number 1023. Follow me on social media by simply searching hashtag Talk to Q. You can also find all things related to the show, including a store where you can buy merchandise over at talktoq.com. The audio versions of this show can be found on just about any podcast aggregator available from Apple Podcasts to Spotify. Now, remember, the show is supported by the people. By the way, you are the people I'm referring to. So please like, subscribe, and share whenever you see me. That goes a long way towards my success. So take a moment to do that now, and that does include my guests I'm about to bring on. So speaking of the guests, let me go ahead and go to backstage and see who I got here. And I'm going to start here with this gentleman coming back. And welcome on, Rod. Rod, what's going on, man?
What's going on, Doc? How you doing?
I'm hanging in there.
It's good. Thanks for having me back. Back to back like MJ.
Shout out to Hope in the chat room. And let's see. I have another guest. Not a first timer, but this is her first time joining the roundtable discussion. And I believe she's in the land of Lincoln in Illinois. Correct me if I'm wrong. Bring on Jasmine. Jasmine, how's it going?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing well. You're in Illinois, right?
No, I actually moved back to Detroit, so I'm back in Michigan.
Back in Michigan. Okay.
Yes.
All right, cool.
Yeah, happy to be here.
All right, glad to have you. And now I got a few show legends who I got to welcome into the mix. And for those of you who are new to the show, a show legend is someone who's either been with the show a long time or made huge contributions to the success of the show. Just great overall people, you know? So let me bring on my show legends, and I'll start here. She is originally from the Wolverine state of Michigan. Please pull up a Chase Lounge chair, get comfortable, and welcome Miss Chandra B to Talk to Q. Chandra, what's going on?
Hey, Q. Thank you for having me back. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for joining. So I got two from Michigan, two from the Wolverine state.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I guess, Rod's in Mississippi, so I guess it's only fair that I have two from Mississippi. So let me go back, go backstage and see what we got. From the 601 area code, the Magnolia state of Mississippi, he plays a doctor on the radio. Please welcome Dr. Willis to the Talk to Q radio show. What's happening?
What's going on, Q? What's going on, panel?
What's going on, man?
What's good?
Man, I can't talk.
And I got one more. He's not on camera right now, but I guess he's there. So I'll get him on and we'll kick things off. From the 850 area code, the Emerald Coastline of Pensacola, Florida, making his way to the ring, the man in black, the Buckster. What's going on, Buck? What up, Buck?
How's everybody doing this evening?
Doing well, man.
Hey.
All right, so we'll kick things off again. Glad to see all of you. And so, all right, now remember, if you're checking this out live, there is a chat room available at the Talk to Q fan page, and there's also one available on my YouTube page. So you can chime in there and give your 2 cents on the topic, and I'll read your comments on the air if I get the chance. All right, so being broke in a relationship can be a huge problem for couples. Like I said, we hear about the cheating and things of that nature all the time, but not having any money can go a long way towards being unhappy in a relationship. So I'm going to start with the ladies first on this one. I'm going to start with you, Chandra. let you kind of break the ice for Jasmine since she's somewhat new to the round table. But Chandra, let me go with you first and ask, should you date? Could you even date if you're not financially secure? You're on mute.
You said, should I as a woman date if I'm not financially secure, or you mean in general?
And in general, woman or man, should you date if you're not financially secure? Is it different for the woman than it is for the man? How do you feel?
Such a loaded question. So for me, my thought, the way that Chandra operates is that I'm always going to make sure that I have enough to take care of me. Right. So if that means, even if I'm going on a date, if you invited me, I'm still going to make sure that I have enough to take care of whatever it is that I ordered or whatever. Now, there's always these either unspoken or expectations when it comes to dating, but I don't think you should be inviting people out to eat if you can't afford the meal.
Okay. All right. So Jasmine, let me go to you. How do you feel about that? Should a person date if they're not financially secure?
No, I feel like a person should stay in the house if they're not financially secure. I feel like if you're not financially secure, you should be spending that time to focus on yourself, why you're not financially secure and how you can become financially secure. And you shouldn't be worried about what's in somebody's pants and going out on a date.
All right. All right. I totally get that. Totally get that. And let me get the fella's opinion. And Rod, I'll start with you.
Yeah, Doc. I ain't spending no money I ain't got. So if I ain't got it, I ain't going. It's pretty much that simple. So if you ain't got it, if you can't take care of yourself, ain't no reason to be trying to take care of nobody else. So you need to be like Jasmine said. You need to try to get yourself together, make sure your financials are secure at home, and then you kind of go from there. But I'm with them. You don't have it, don't take nobody else.
Buck, do you agree?
I totally agree. If you don't have it, don't go out. It's just that simple.
Y'all are making this too easy. All right, Dr. Willis, I know you got something different, right?
Man, I gotta come with something different. I'm gonna do a whole 180. I gotta come with something different. All right, so I think it all boils down to why you broke. If you're taking care of your bills at home, you're taking care of your responsibilities and things like that, and there's just not enough money at the end of the day to do what you gotta do, and you got potential, you got ambition, you're working on some other means and things like that, you still have to live. So you gotta think outside the box when you don't have the money. And you might need to start dating mature people who understand where you're going with it. You don't always have to spend money on a date. Have a walk in the park, go buy some ice cream and sit on the bench and talk. Do something that's outside the box, and have fun. And let the partner know that where you stand. You ain't got to say I'm broke or whatever, but just say, hey, but trying to I'm trying to get to where I can do more things, but let's do this right now in the meantime. There's some women out there that will understand, that will work with you and go through those pains with you. I think those relationships are a little bit stronger though when you start from nothing and you guys rise together. So I don't know. I think though if you don't have any ambition, you're throwing away your money, you're not doing what you're supposed to do, then yeah, stay at home, sit on the couch. But I just think that you have to think about where you are, why you're there, and you have to have a plan to get yourself out of that situation. But at the same time, you can think outside the box so you can continue to live.
All right. Chrissy says, can't pay your bills, stay at home. And shout out to her in Jersey, Shamira in Mississippi, shout out. And so, all right, so what about this though? Does being financially secure just apply to the man, or does it apply to both the man and the woman? This is for anybody who wants to answer.
We know in this day and age, it applies to the man. I mean, women are making more than men now and still saying they want you to pay for everything. So it kind of applies to men, but I think in any given situation, I think the relationship will be stronger if both are contributing to the relationship. But but as it pertains to society today, I think that always almost usually applies to the man, even though everybody say both. They like to give the perfect answer, but they don't do the perfect scenarios. You know what I mean? They don't put in the perfect work. So that's just my opinion on it.
Okay.
So I'm a challenge in that. I think for me, it's about being self-sufficient, right? And it's hard for me to date anybody if you're not self-sufficient. Now, I ain't asking you to be rolling in dough and all that, but I got my own responsibilities and things that I have to take care of. So I can't take care of mine and yours, right? And so I think it's important for anyone. If you got you, then maybe we can meet somewhere in the middle. Because to me, there's also a lot of frivolous things that people buy and do and all of that when we're talking about dating that I find to be unnecessary. And especially as we get up in age, it's even more so unnecessary. There's, why you spent, $100 or whatever on this, that, and the third, you could have been putting that in the bank, or at least half of that in the bank, and begin to accumulate something. But people like to go whatever the steakhouse is and the Brazilian steakhouse and do that like once a month. And I'm like, that right there is $50 a person. That's unnecessary to me. Now that may be a once, maybe a year kind of thing, not a every month kind of thing, but people will do that. And, that's frivolous money. I mean, that's spending frivolously to me. But
what's wrong with a little Fogo de Chao or Tejas de Brazil? I mean, come on now.
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm not spending my $50 every month on that. I want something else. I want to do something else, because I agree with Will in that you have to, when your finances are funny, you have to be creative, right? And so you have to think outside of the box in terms of what else can we do besides always spending money on going out to eat or expensive things. That's something you save up for, that you do, or whatever. And then again, it all depends on the degree of the relationship. Are we dating? Are we in a relationship, a couple? Because if we're talking about dating, first date type of thing, first meeting, blind date kind of thing, it all depends on how far how much time and how much investment you have in that relationship as well.
Man, if the world thought like that, that'd be great. Because unfortunately, that is out there. It's just not what people think, man. A lot of times, regardless of what the lady may have, a lot of times the man is expected to take it up. Not saying that she can't and that she won't, but it's expected. You hear all the time. You hear people say, "Oh, he ain't got no money, girl. He took me to such and such," or "He ain't got no money. We can't even do whatever it is they wanted to do." And so, a lot of times, it's expected for the men to have themselves together and ready to drop whatever it is. Again, not saying that a woman can't. But you don't hear too many men go, "Well, man, she was broke. That's why I let her go." No, she ain't had no money. You don't hear that often.
But y'all should be saying that. Y'all should.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think, with all that, it plays into what men are looking for. Are you looking for a woman to provide for you? Or are you looking for a woman to go out, have a good time, show that she's nurturing? And what women are looking for is security. They're looking to know that you're a provider. So, yeah, women are going to expect you to pay for that. But you shouldn't date someone who's homeless. You should date a woman who could take care of herself, even if she expects you to pay for the dinner.
Okay. All right. Good stuff. And so, let me, hold on. Let me go back to the chat room. Chris is complimenting my shirt. This is actually a shirt that she made for me. So
that's why she complimented.
That's a dope shirt. She made my cup too.
Nice.
So my tumbler, much better than a Stanley cup. But yeah, you got to post a link in the chat room, Chrissy, so everybody can get a hold of you. But okay, so this is something. The reason I wanted a couple of younger people on the panel was because, I have a few questions for the younger generation, and we know that it's difficult in 2024. to have one person working and one person staying at home to raise kids. I mean, it's great if you can afford it, but that tradition is basically dead. Both people have to work. However, I see so much arguing, especially with the younger generations, when it comes to people discussing relationships and if they should be 50-50 or not. So, Jasmine, let me go to you on this. How should finances be handled for couples? Is it 50-50 or something else?
I would say that depends on what each person is making in the relationship. Now, if you guys make pretty much the same amount in your careers, then okay, it could be 50-50. But for example, let's say the woman makes double what the man makes, maybe it should be 70-30. Because you got to think about long term, and we should be still saving our money and put it into investments and various things. And how can you do that if you're not making the same amount and doing 50-50? So I think it just depends on what each person is making and what they bring to the table in regards to finances.
Okay. And Rod, what's your take on it, man? Should finances be handled 50-50 or should it be something else? Now, real quick, let me go back to the chat room. Chrissy said, I didn't need a rich dude, but you have to be able to hold his own. But what you got, Rod?
So I'm married. For those who may not know, I'm married, and so for me, the way I look at it, it's really based on the couple. Each couple does it a little different. Some couples do it 50-50. Some couples do it, 100-0. Some do it 70-30, whatever it is. Whatever agreement that you and your significant other come up with, that's what you should do. As a man, my goal is always to make enough money to handle everything. Not saying that my wife don't have to work or don't need to work. She still go to work like everybody else. And for me at my house, it's our money. We don't have no, well, that's your money. This my money. You pay the light bill. I pay the water bill. We take our money. We pay the bills. It's our money. No matter how much I make, how much she make. So we do pretty well. But that works for me. I got friends that they don't work for them. They split the bills 50-50, and if she don't pay the light bill, the lights go off. And if he don't pay whatever it is, then they get kicked out.
That's all bad.
So, but that's how some people work, man. I think it's just based on you. If you try to build your finances based on how everybody else doing it, you're gonna never get it right. And so, whatever you and your significant other come up with, that's what you should do.
All right. And Buck, let me go to you on this and get your 2 cents, man. How you think it should be handled? Is 50-50 okay?
Ooh, I lost you there for a second.
Is 50-50 okay? How do you think it should be handled?
Like you were saying, it really depends on your situation. I mean, for me, I would like to do it 50-50, but me also as a man, I'd like to try to take care of everything. So therefore, there won't be any issues, but it really depends on the relationship of, what you guys devise. And, long as everybody's in agreement, communication is very important. So it depends on what your relationship situation may be.
Okay. And let's see. Chrissy says, whatever works for the couple. I don't think the 1950s thinking works in this day and age. And look who's chimed in here. Miss Crystal Hickerson says, I agree with Rod.
She's smart. You should keep her around.
Good to see you, Chris. And yeah, so I mean, Dr. Willis, Chandra, y'all have anything to add? I mean, can it be handled differently, or is 50-50 a good idea? Should the man do all of it? What do you think?
Well, I'm gonna say this. I think that there's levels to it, right? Now, I'm a firm believer that whatever works for the couple is that's it, right? However, we see that a lot of that don't. A lot of what works for the couple always end in heartbreak for somebody eventually. I can show you a lot of broke dudes right now that thought that their manhood was based off what they could pay and how much they could pay, that are broke right now because they had no savings, no anything, because they were so busy trying to pay everything to show that they're a man. All right, your manhood is not tied in how much you can pay. Yeah, you definitely need to secure your family, things like that. But you know, I look at it like this. I don't think it should ever be 50-50 for one, because unless you're making the same amount of money, like Jasmine said, down almost down to the penny, it should never be 50-50 anyway, because it still would be unfair for somebody. You know what I'm saying? I look at it like this: you can do averages, you can take both incomes and divide it out and see what percentage of the person is making this particular money, and then the other percentage, and then that's how you do the bills. You can do that, but however you do it is fine. I just really believe though that in order for to have a strong relationship, both partners should be contributing to the financial aspect of the relationship. And I'm gonna tell you why I say that. Nobody wants to admit this, but all you gotta do is just go study and look at people, right? Show me a relationship where one party is paying all the bills, and I'll show you the controlling person in that relationship. All right. Show me a relationship where they're both contributing. That relationship is a lot stronger and have less financial arguments than any other. For the simple fact that you can't say, "Oh, I'm paying all the bills here. This is my stuff. This, and this, that." Right? Both you can't say that because both parties are contributing. So I feel like if both parties doing that, then that's fine. Now I'm with Rod. Me personally, I believe that whatever money coming to the house is our money. We both take allowances for ourselves to have what we're gonna spend on how we want to spend it, but the rest of the money is in the pot, and we take care of the bills, emergency, and all these things out of the pot. But that's just my opinion on it.
Okay. And Shandra, you wanted to add something?
I just agree that 50% or 50-50 is bad all the way around, no matter how you slice it. Even if we making the same amount of money, I think 50-50 is just because if that's the case, you may have wanted this car or this type of car, or you may have wanted this type of house. Now I'm responsible for paying 50%, even though I didn't want or I didn't 100% agree with whatever the decision was, but now I'm stuck with paying 50%, or the grocery bill, and I only got this amount, of the groceries that I actually eat, and you got all of that. So I just think 50-50 is bad, but I do think that the couple has to figure out what works for them. And it could be if somebody's a saver and somebody is good at paying the bills, you all have to work that out in terms of how you want to share that responsibility. That's how I see it.
Okay. I mean, I also think that 50-50 is, I mean, it's not realistic in a lot of ways. Kind of like what Dr. Willis says. If someone's making 60,000, the other person's making 30, and you split stuff 50-50, it's still kind of unfair. But I think that, I mean, like the way I was raised was go out into the world, get a career, buy a home, then bring a woman into the home and, go from there, which allows me to kind of already have a grasp on paying mortgage and, insurance or lights and utilities and all that stuff. So she comes in, whatever she brings in is gravy. But in today's society, it's kind of hard to do that. People are having to move in together because it's so difficult for one person to go out and establish themselves financially and then bring someone else into the fold. So I recognize there's some differences there, and it may be a little harder for the younger generations now. But let's see, Crystal in Michigan said these are questions you should discuss before you even move in together, and especially before you get married. And amen to that.
Yeah,
Amen to that. But unfortunately, a lot of people don't have those conversations when they should. Those conversations come too late. Those conversations comes after babies are born and things of that nature, and you're kind of stuck. But I definitely agree. These are discussions that need to be had. That's why I want to have this show. People need to hear this stuff. They need to be having these conversations with their significant others to figure out if they're on the same page financially or not. But I'm sorry, someone was getting ready to say something.
Oh, I was just saying, you said something about people going out and, establishing themselves and how it's a little harder today. I think sometimes, man, we're not willing to work for the things that we want. We just want the stuff and we want it now. We want it so fast. I call this generation the microwave generation because I wanted to put it in there, get it in 30 seconds and have the money. Sometimes it's like, well, I feel like I should be staying in a $1,200 apartment. Well, if you can't afford but a $600 apartment, that's where you need to be. You can't just do stuff because you feel like it. And so a lot of times I think we get ourselves into financial trouble because we feel like I want the new J's today. Well, if you got two pair of J's, you don't have to have six. you know, um, Trying to keep up with the fad, keep up with the Joneses, man, I think they get us in a lot of trouble. And so now you end up couples who they compete with each other. It ain't even about competing with the next person. Well, you got new J's, I want new J's. You got red bottoms, I'm getting Stacy's. Like my goodness, y'all ain't gonna never make it. You ain't gonna never get out the mud because you always trying to one up each other, trying to say, I got this mine, this or whatever. It used to be when you created a family, you created a helpmate. Y'all was working this thing together, y'all was building this thing together. You had kids to help you grow their family. A lot of people, they had farms, they had kids to sustain the farm. It was meaning behind, they love their kids. It wasn't just for them to work, but it was meaning behind everything they do. Now we just do stuff to do it. So
It's very true. That's very true. Hope in Texas agrees with you. And so whether you're buying new Jordans or, it's a shame to have a $300 purse and nothing in it. But there are a lot of people out there doing that. So, all right, couple more questions and we'll get ready to wrap things up. I won't keep you all too long. Now, of course, we're talking still on kind of like the 50-50 type of angle thing. How do you all feel about separate bank accounts? Okay, should there be separate bank accounts for couples? So if you're living together or if you're married, I'll just say for that, not for people who are dating or whatever, because that's just crazy. But if you're living together or if you're married, should there be separate bank accounts for couples? And Jazz, I'll go back to you.
Yes. So I am currently in a relationship for the last 5 years, and me and my boyfriend stay together. Um, and I feel like there should be separate bank accounts. However, for like the larger bills, the main bills that we take care of in the household, we can't have a joint account for that. But if you have things that you're doing, for example, I have my own business, so I make my business money for that, and I want my own bank account. And then he has his own thing that he does freelance, and he should have to be able to control that money. So I feel like for the bills, you can have a joint account, but for everything else, you can have your own account.
Okay. All right. And Chandra, what do you think? Should there be separate bank accounts for couples?
Yes, absolutely. His, hers, and ours. So I just think that that's the best way to operate. You can have your own for multiple reasons, multiple legal reasons, multiple reasons why you should have your own separate bank account. And then also, like she said, have a joint account that pays the household bills. Everybody contributes that same amount of money or whatever portion of money that goes toward the household bills. But there's a lot of reasons why you should maintain your own account.
Okay. And let's see. Hope, yes, separate. Chrissy in Jersey, or we have separate. Crystal in Michigan, yep, yes. All right. And so everyone seems to be agreeing. And Rod, what do you think?
Uh, so again, I think it's just really based on the couple. I totally understand why you would have separate bank accounts. Totally get it. I understand the safety and security and everything. But I mean, if y'all want to do it together and y'all have a understanding of what it is what it is. Now, I believe if you're not married, ain't no such thing as getting on an account with me. Like we can't have no combined account if we ain't married. I don't care how long we've been dating. I don't care if we stay together. We ain't married. Your name can't get on no bank account, can't go on no credit cards. I ain't signing for no car. I ain't doing it. But once we get married, situations can change. Um, Depending on what y'all come up with. If y'all decide to have maybe two accounts of checking and a saving, that's what y'all want to do, then so be it. Now, if you have a business, I think I understand that as well. If you got your own separate business, your own separate thing, I get that. You don't want to mix the business account with the house account. I get that. But I think what it come down to, it just come down to what the couples believe, the married couples believe. Yeah. Like I said, if you ain't married, keep it separate. Because you might not like her tomorrow. You might want to go to your backyard first.
Dr. Willis, what say you, sir?
Yeah, also, I mean, I feel what Rod is saying, but I look at it from this point of view. If you've been rocking with that person for a long time, you know you're in love with that person in love with you. You know, do what feels right because married folks burn each other a whole lot faster and way more than couples that are living together. You know what I'm saying? Couples that live together without being married are actually lasting longer than you know married couples. So I think that once you get that foundation of trust, you know, you do what feels right for you and your household. But I do believe that you should have separate accounts because, you know, you don't want to always have to have ask permission to buy things you want to buy. You know sometimes there are things you just simply want to do that you don't need to check in with the other person to do. You know, and I'm not talking about anything harmful to the relationship, just stuff that you want to do. So have it separate accounts, excuse me. Um, have your joint accounts for your bills and your emergency funds, and then and the rest of it sort itself out. But yeah, you definitely want to have a separate account. And I think that to me, I think that's a safety net for both partners should something go awry in the marriage later on down the line. Because if you're frugal and you saving, both of you that way, you know what I'm saying? If you're divorced, you're gonna leave a lot better than probably what you came in if you got a nice little nest egg in your own account and then you guys could take what's in the center and split it and leave better than what you came. I'm a proponent of always leaving a relationship better than what you came if it comes down to you having to leave that relationship. So I
Okay.
think those things should be discussed in the beginning. So there's already a plan if something like that happens. But people don't like to talk about that.
You don't think a good lawyer would take that money anyway?
Yeah, he would.
Nah,
Yeah,
not
As
hey,
long
hey,
as
hey,
you
no,
married.
but seriously though, if you talk and you plan things out in the beginning, I really don't think there's a need to get a lawyer involved if things go south. You know, you just do
that's
you
in a
know
good relationship. I agree. In a good
right.
relationship, yeah, you don't have to get no lawyer involved, none of
Yeah,
that.
and
But
that's like 2% of all breakups.
But if you plan right, if you plan in the beginning and you get your plan notarized and things like that, you hold each other to the plan. Yeah,
And Crystal chimed in and said, exactly, Rod. Girlfriend, boyfriend is not the same as being married.
I think y'all
All
put too
right.
much faith in being in that married word, man. I'm telling you, y'all put way too much faith in that. I'll tell you, more married folks screw each other faster and harder than anybody else. It's proven.
So I don't know. I just think most people who are married probably shouldn't be married. I mean, so that's the bigger problem. Most people don't have any character about
And they
themselves.
still screw each other a lot harder
So,
than people that have been living together.
so but all right. Uh get ready to let's see. Well, let me ask this.
that's what I'm talking about. It don't matter if it's another account.
You
Chris
you
was
gonna do
trying to
that
take it
anyway,
off.
Chris. So you know you're the number one man either. You're gonna do that anyway.
Trying to take it off. Me and Chris were real cool then. Now she's gonna take all my money.
She ain't lying though. I'm telling you, that's the thought. That's the prevalent thought.
All right, so now this is something that I don't think enough people do nowadays, and that's plan for the future. Not
Right.
just for themselves, but for their families. If you die tomorrow and the only thing you leave your significant other and your kids is a sneaker collection or, a Stanley Cup, then, you need your tail kicked. But at what point in life should a person think about a life insurance policy? All right. I mean, serious question here. At what point in life should a person think about a life insurance policy? This is for whoever wants to answer.
As soon as you start your career, immediately.
Yes,
Like,
immediately.
ain't no reason to wait. I mean, what you waiting on? You could die tomorrow.
No.
You
As a matter of
gotta
fact,
you gotta
go ahead.
go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead.
My thing is a lot of times we get caught in situations that oh, I'm gonna do it tomorrow. I'm gonna do it tomorrow. And then you mess around and something happen and tomorrow never comes. I hate to say it like this, but you know, the the good white folks get life insurance and they leave their family with things and they establish wealth through life insurance. You know, grandma, grandpa died and they leave all this money down and it trickles down. And I didn't say everybody do that, but it's just the truth. That's one way it works. And you're able to even put it in a trust for the younger ones and do other things to help them financially along the way. And a lot of times we wait too late. We wait until I'm 50 now, I want to try to get life insurance, or I'm 60 now, life insurance is so high, you can't get what you want. You can't put nothing into it because you're so old. You know what you waiting on. I got a 6-year-old. He got life insurance. Ain't no telling what might happen. I'm not wishing it on him, but I'm gonna be prepared. And it ain't about the money, but it's most definitely about making sure can do the things that's necessary for him, making sure something happened to me, my wife good, he good, and everything else. So get the life insurance, start your retirement, go. Don't wait.
All right. Hope says she has 3. And Chrissy says, I was a mom young. At 18, I was an EMT in New York, and I immediately got life insurance. My job wasn't safe. And so, anyone else, what do you think as far as what point in your life should a person get life insurance? Because I agree with Rob. You wait until you're 60. It's hard to put stuff into it. And, some people don't make it to 60. And then I hate to see people, have to start a GoFundMe just to bury someone. I mean, that happens, pretty regularly with people because funerals are expensive. And the person who died may not have anything to leave to even bury themselves. So, I mean, at what point do you start preparing for this type of stuff?
Yeah, I would say as young as possible. I got a life insurance when I was 20 years old, and I think it's important to have financial literacy, especially because when you're sitting your money somewhere, let's say you sit in a savings account, yeah, it may grow 4% in 10 years, but you want to have something that'll grow exponentially throughout your entire life because one, you never know what's going to happen. Two, once you come to a point in your life when I get married and have kids, I want to have something to provide to them when I'm gone. So, just being able to be as financial literate as possible so that you're planning for the future because, you might as well be prepared at all times so you never have to get prepared.
And to add on to that, I think it's, important to understand the difference in the different types of life insurance because oftentimes our parents, our grandparents, they bought life insurance, but it was term life insurance. And that term life insurance, once you hit a certain age, like 70, 80 or whatever, only thing that they give you at that point is burial money. And that's like 5,000. Nobody gets anything. And so we have to make sure you're getting the right type of life insurance, whether it's through your job or outside, because at the end of the day, you can put all that money into that term life insurance and nobody getting anything, but they didn't got, whatever, $100 a month for the last 20 years or more, 40 years or more, and nobody's getting anything because it was term. So make sure that you understand exactly what you're putting your money into and what you can get out of it as a result of that.
Very well said. And you talk about 5,000 for a funeral. $5,000 will get you buried in an old Amazon Prime box. That's not going to get you a lot these days. Stuff is
You ain't
high.
get no Amazon box. Wait a
Might get you
second.
cremated. That's about it.
They're going to rip the label off and put you
That's
in.
exactly, that's what I'm saying. And so a lot of times people are not fully aware of what it is that they have, right? And then I'll say even, okay, I work for the federal government. I have what they call a good job, right? Lots of people have good jobs, but if you don't pay attention to every year, so for example, you can't up your life insurance whenever you want to. There are special times and events that happen, and if you're not on it within 30 days, you don't get that it stays the same and you're stuck. And so this is something that you should review annually, because as your circumstance change, you need to be updating that if they make it available. But most of the time when you're talking about life insurance policies, it is not a annual thing like your health insurance policies, unless you have your own personal. But if it's through your job, you get it when they either do an open season, which the last time the federal government did it was like in 2016. So that's almost 10 years ago, the last time they had it open where you could modify your options. I had a sister, my brother-in-law passed away. She had just added him to the insurance policy, thinking that the life insurance and all of that was taken care of, that it was automatic, and it's not. They're not looking out for you like that. So make sure that you sit down and talk to people and make sure that you understand exactly what everything covers. because you can be paying all this money into something and nothing and get nothing in return.
Right. And that's why I think they need to be teaching this stuff in high school. They really do. Why they arguing about what they're teaching in schools, they need to be teaching financial literacy for sure.
Exactly.
And
And then
Hope
I would say,
says, I'm sorry, real quick and get these comments. Hope
Mhm.
said 22 when I got mine and 2 more when I had my daughter. And Crystal said I have 2 and I'm working on 4. And go ahead, Dr. Willis.
I was about to say also, not only knowing the different types of insurance, but strategizing with that insurance too. You know, it's one thing to get insurance, then you die and you pass down to your kids, and that's it, right? You want that Rockefeller waterfall strategy, something like that. If you're not familiar with, study that. You know, what happened with him? He put his money, he had his insurance money put into a trust. The family was able to borrow from the trust, but everybody that's borrowing from that trust, everybody in the family had to get the life insurance, and it pays into that same trust. So it's like a waterfall effect. They never run out of money because every time a generation dies, there's more money that's dumped into that for the next generation. They can borrow against it, do what they need to do. But when they die, guess what? All those life insurance policies going off into that trust. So, strategize with it too. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's how you build the real wealth, the real generational wealth, I've been studying it now, only not that long, but it's something I really want to incorporate with my kids and their kids, to get some real generational wealth going on. So, definitely try to strategize with it as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
I 100% agree. I think, to be honest with you, man, I think we scared of money. Oh, I think we scared to spend it in the right way. There's a lot of things that you can do out here to make sure that you have your finances set up for the future. Life insurance, health insurance, trust funds. Every state has a 529 for education
Yep,
or some type
529.
of college fund. We get caught into a situation just because I ain't giving no folks my money, and you end up giving them money anyway. You think because I go take a loan, oh, it's gonna work out better. I'm gonna get this little stanky refund check, and now your bachelor degree don't cost you $150,000, and you trying to
Mhm.
figure out, well, I was gonna get my master's, but I can't afford it. Like nobody sat down and put themselves in situations to make them better. You gotta start somewhere, and you don't have to start at the top. You don't have to do everything at
Right.
once, but start somewhere and build your way up. Um, don't just don't do nothing. I just hate it, man. I be trying to get the little younger ones to see when they come into the job, like, I don't know what you're doing, but you at least gonna sign up for some percentage of your retirement, because the way they talking about pushing retirement age back to 70. I
Yeah,
mean, you
that's
better
crazy.
give you some money.
Yeah, you got that right. You got that right. And some folks only focus on, shoot, some people barely pay their car insurance, so they ain't paying no life insurance. But all right, let me sneak one more question in, and then we'll wrap this up. I promise. All right. So we're talking about relationships and money. How long does it take to determine if someone you're in a relationship with, if you two are on the same page when it comes to finances? All right. So at what point do you determine? I mean, it's something you can determine early on. And if so, should you go ahead and break that thing off and go on about your life? Um, but Chandra, what do you think? How long does it take to determine if someone, you know, is on the same page with you financially? How do you try to get to the core of that discussion?
I mean, I think that that's a conversation to be had, and also watching over time, right? Again, are you a spender or a saver? And is there something in between? I have a girlfriend, they've been married for over 30 years, and they are total opposite when it comes to money, right? So much so, like, she would go shopping and hide the bags in the trunk of the car,
Oh,
and,
that's
and
all
wait
bad.
wait for him to come in later or whatever, to bring them in later. And so you just have to understand who you're dealing with. And that's why it takes time to kind of watch that over time. Um,
I hope her husband's not watching the show.
but the thing is that, that happens, right? And so you have to determine, is it, I heard someone say about an allowance. I think it was Rod. You can look at that and say, do we want to give each other allowance? And as long as you spend within this amount of, money, we don't need to talk about it. It's all about understanding. So, hey, $500, we don't need to talk about it. Anything over $500, I don't care if it's $501.01. We need to have a conversation before that money is spent, especially if we have a joint account. And so people will do things to, to hide bad behavior. And so I think it's something that you have to know what your limits are. And if you can figure that out before you say I do, and it's not in line with what you want, baby, save yourself the heartache and walk away. I don't care how good he or she look, and you think you can change them, it's not gonna happen. And so to save yourself that heartache, if those two things, that's one of the number one reasons why relationships don't. Now, it's not the number one, but one of the top 10 reasons why relationships end, and it's that financial stress. And so I think if you can figure that y'all are not on the same page early on, before you say I do, I think it's best to walk away.
Okay.
Or at least get counseling.
All right. Crystal says on date 1 or at least 2, you
And
should know.
I agree. That is my mom, and I agree. I think, date 1, or as soon as you get in a relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend relationship, you should be talking about that. Me personally, when I got in my relationship, I asked, what's your credit score? What are we talking about in regards to investing? What are your plans for the next 5, 10, 15 years? I feel like those shouldn't be bad questions to ask. If you want to date me on a serious level, I should be able to ask what your goals are. And if they don't align with my goals, if you're not investing, you're not planning for the future, I guess I'll see you next lifetime, because you got to plan for things, because I want my life to be in a certain place, especially in the Black community. We don't focus on finances that much, so I think it's important to really structure that in your relationship and have open conversations, because what do you have to hide?
Okay. All right. That's a lot of pressure to put on a brother right there. That's how you weed out the bad ones.
Immediately.
That's how you weed out the guys that ain't serious about their finances. So
Ooh, date 2, asking my credit
yeah.
score. Hey.
And Dope Discussions chimed in from Louisiana. As early as possible, we should be talking about financial behaviors. Crystal's co-signing with Jasmine. That's right. Let's see. Mona's chiming in from, I believe she's still in Mississippi. Says, piggybacking on the life insurance topic, I found an interesting piece of information that I'm sure that many of you knew. When I went to go see the movie Origin, Black people were not allowed to have wills for many years. It made me think of how that has helped to have Black people have an all about me and you can't take it with you attitude regarding money. From being denied the ability to build generational wealth from way back when, we became more all about self. Wow, that is interesting. Huh. So this may have been a seed that was planted years ago that we're unaware of, and that might contribute to the mindset we had now. I appreciate that, Mona. Now I want to see that movie.
So to Mona's point, right? And I tell folks this all the time, and they kind of laugh at me and talk shit. But I say that it's like anything else, especially from that far back to when we was slaves and on up. You get so accustomed to some things that become part of your DNA, right? And having that mindset that she was talking about, that is actually part of our DNA until we actually have to get until we decided we want to change that. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what we've been accustomed to, and that's what we've been what's the word I'm looking for? Conditioned to think, the way we've been conditioned to think for like hundreds of years. So then it becomes part of your DNA. All right. And so what she hit on is absolutely along those lines without saying it. And it's crazy though. So it's good that we're talking about this topic, and a lot of folks are trying to talk about this topic too, because it breaks that generational curse. It breaks those cycles of I don't I never had it anyway, or things like that. We need to start talking about it in our schools, like you mentioned earlier. We don't teach it in our school at an early age. So guess what? We're not talking about or thinking about finances. Then it's out of sight, out of mind. We don't know what to do with it when we do get it, because we never been taught how to handle it. And I think that's where we are.
Okay.
Q,
All right.
Q.
Go ahead, Chandra.
Oh, sorry. What Jasmine said made me think of something, and it's just, and I'm assuming there's a age difference between she and I.
Mhm.
And so it made me think about, because I think that having those kind of conversations are really, really important. But I know in my day and age of dating and generation, if a woman asks a lot about your finances, then she's a gold digger. So I'm just wondering, how that kind of shift, or has it shifted for the younger generation with dating? Because I agree 100%. We need to be talking about it, and there's all those songs about what your credit score is or whatever, people talking about it via memes. And I get it and I agree. But in my generation, if you started asking too many questions about somebody's finances, then you a gold digger. Oh, she only out for my money, whatever. So I'm just curious how that has shifted, or has it shifted?
Do you
I
know why I think it shifted?
Go ahead.
I think the difference now, and Jasmine, you can speak to it as well. I think the difference now is that women today don't really care if they get married by a certain age or at all, as opposed to 30 years ago where people were begging to get married. So they would dance around certain conversations because they wanted the guy to like them, and I don't think that's the case now. But I mean, Jazz, how do you feel about it?
I would say, I'm focused on my finances personally. So I can show you my credit score. I can show you my brokerage account. Like I can show you what I'm trading against. So I really want to know yours because that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm focusing on. And I feel like for my generation, there are a lot of people who are focused on that. You still have that subset of people who are straight up gold diggers. But I think for your point, Chandra, it's changed. It's went from obvious gold digging. Oh, let me ask them how much money you make. To now, it's the roles have switched. The gold diggers are quiet. The gold digger's not going to ask you your money. They're just going to see your money, be quiet, be agreeable, and then they'll get the money. And now the opposite. The women are now more independent, focused on their finances. So I'm going to ask you those questions because if you're not aligned, I gotta go.
There you go. And I ain't saying she's a gold digger. But let's see. Let me catch up on some of these comments. The discussion said, I've heard many of our people say that they're not leaving anything behind for their children, and I think that's sad. Okay, that's going back to Mona's comment. And that is very sad. Crystal in Michigan, this is a capitalist society, and they don't want you to know the ins and outs of money. And
Right.
yeah, and the information is out there for us, but sometimes we don't want to know either. And
It
Crystal
is
also
good.
says gold digger is a male term, not a female term. Yeah, yeah. And the discussion says, I believe it has shifted because women are building their own wealth and they want to make sure that a man won't be a hindrance to their progress. Okay.
So I will say this. I believe that from on the female side, yes, maybe it has shifted. On the male side, it has. I think for men, real men don't go into the thing going how much that money that woman make. He goes in the thing like I'm gonna provide for that woman. I'm gonna be somebody strong for that woman. I'm gonna help her. I want her to be. I want to build something with that woman. And he will eventually get to how much you make or maybe what your credit score is. But for real men, we don't go into it like, how much you got and what can I get out of it. And maybe we should change some of it. But I just don't think that's for the most part, it's not what we look for. We look for somebody that we can build something a little stronger.
Yeah, and someone's not going to bring us down.
Right.
It's the main thing. And so, yeah, yeah. Crystal says, you are a dying breed, Rod.
I'm keeping hope alive. The thing is,
Oh
let me
yeah.
say this, Chris. Let me say this. I've been talking to a young lady about some of this stuff. I say this: we're out there. We really are. We really are out there. We've been overshadowed by an illusion that's called social media. Social media overshadows
Mm,
and try to paint a picture of men is this and women is that, and it's really a small bubble of people as that. Because the truth be told, like for example, and I know this is not financial, nobody told women that men wanted somebody with BBLs. Nobody said that. No man came out and said that, but that's the picture being painted in front of everybody. You ain't never heard a man say, I married her because she got a BBL. Now, he might mess around with her, but he ain't going to marry her because that ain't what he was looking for. And so I think a lot of times we're painted a picture in social media, but it just ain't the truth.
All right. Very well said. Very well said.
And I would have to agree with Rod also. Working with the military, there are a lot of men that, to kind of counter what Will was saying in terms of it's about control. Now there is that subset of people, but there are a lot of men that take care of, or people that take care of with this one single household family, and they do well because they have these financial conversations, they invest, they buy property, they do what they need to do in order to bring that wealth in and live off of essentially one income. But it takes talking about it, working, and working together as a team, and not, this is mine, this is yours, or you don't have a job, so everything is mine. It really is about having that open dialogue and discussion about what it is that we want, what are our couple goals, not just what are my goals. So I think that it's possible to, even in this day and age, to live off of one income, but it's all about how you go after it.
It really is. And okay, all right, great discussion. And we'll go ahead and get ready to wrap things up. But don't forget, just for those out there watching, don't forget that you can support the show in a number of ways. You can pick up some merchandise, some Talk to Q merchandise over at the website, talktoq.com. You can also buy me a cup of coffee. I'll put the link in the chat room. That's another way you can help to support the show. Either would be appreciated. Again, the link is in the chat room. Okay, so we'll go ahead and get things to ready to wrap things up. I had a couple more questions I could have done, but maybe I'll save that for a future show. But we'll go ahead and get to our final thoughts. Let everyone just anything you want to add, you're more than welcome to add, and things of that nature. And let me go to Jazz first. Now, Jazz, of course, you all may have heard, she is show legend Crystal's daughter. So put that out there. But Jazz, just any final thoughts on the show, and also let the people know what you do and where they can find you.
Yeah. I would say my final thoughts is, financial literacy and have an open dialogue within a relationship so you can plan for the future. And then also, you guys can find me on social media. So I have a natural skincare line where I hand make natural skincare products like body butters, scrubs, and also body washes. And you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at baby skin underscore. So that's BABI skin underscore.
All right, you say that's BABI underscore skin.
Nope, it's going to be
Oh,
BABI skin underscore.
oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I'll put that in the chat room and IG
Awesome.
at BABI skin underscore. And yeah, actually, the first time you ever came on the only time you ever came on the show was to discuss baby skin. So that was a while back. So it's good to have you back on. I appreciate you, and hopefully we can do it again.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me anytime.
All right. And right, talk to the people, man.
What's good, man? Thank you, Q, for having me on another time back to back like MJ. I appreciate it. You can most definitely, for anybody, please don't be scared to talk about your finances. Finances are very important. It doesn't matter when you start, just please start. Please start today. Um, we don't want to be left in a situation like one of the comment was where you don't leave your family anything. Like, don't be stingy with the money. Jesus ain't gonna let you in because you got $1 million in the bank. So, go on, leave. It's gonna be okay. But you can find me. I have a group of 6 male millenniums. We get on Wednesdays. It's called Apartment 48 at 9 o'clock. So find us on Facebook, Instagram. We're live on Facebook and YouTube at 9. You can find us anywhere: Facebook, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Check us out. We'd love to have you. We're getting ready to celebrate our 2 years on the air in this month. So, check us out when you can.
All right, 2 years. That's cool. That's cool. Congratulations on that. So Facebook Apartment for a Podcast. And then for Jasmine on Instagram at babyskin_. You all be sure to check that out. Appreciate you, man. And Chandra, what you got?
I think that start the conversation when we're talking about finances, start the conversation and start it early. But I also think that it's important. One of the things that we don't do as a community is share what the information that we have. And so, we can't take it all. There's enough money out there for all of us. So just because you got this real estate thing going, show somebody how to do that. And if you know how to invest in stocks, show somebody how to do that. Stop hoarding that information, because the only way that we're going to get better is if we help each other. And so I just think it's important for us to continue to have dialogue about finances, about investing. And the earlier we have it, the better.
Sounds good to me. Appreciate you joining the mix again tonight.
And thank you for having me, Q.
Dr. Willis, shut it down, bro.
All right, I want to say welcome to Jasmine. I got a feeling you're gonna be man eater number 2, but it's all good.
Bobby and Crystal used to have some wars back in the day.
But it's all good. I would say this: financial literacy definitely starts at home. All right, we have to get it squared away at home, and then start branching out to our communities, right? Because we're the only community where the dollar circulates once and then it goes out, whereas, the Asian community, it circulates about 8 to 10 times before it even go outside that community. And we need to study that. We need to find out how they're doing that. You know what I'm saying? It's not like we don't have businesses. It's not like we don't spend money. We're probably, the biggest spenders out there, the biggest consumers out of all the groups. We got to find a way to keep that within our community, circulating it so we all get to touch that money and do the things we need to do. But it does start in the home. So if you got kids, get the little books, age appropriate books. Let them read those. Read it with them. You know what I'm saying? You ain't got to just give it to them and say, hey, go read this. Read it with them. Explain to them what they're reading. And let's get financial literacy kicked off at the lowest level and train them as you go up. And not only like reading, let's put things into action. Like with me, my nephews and nieces, not only my kids, but my nephews and nieces, I put each on my credit cards. So by the time they get 18, they already got perfect credit. They already got great credit. Things like that. Little things like that goes a long way. They don't have to get a card. They just need to get the benefits of the card. So, let's start teaching and training and doing all the financial things in the home first. And then when we get comfortable with that, let's start, each one teach one, like Chandra was saying. Let's start teaching what we know, and circulating the money in our neighborhood before it goes out. I think that'll be real important. Also, what we discussed tonight, I wanted to touch a bit on relationships. There's no perfect way. Whatever works for your union, is what works. But I will say from experience from studying people, and I've been doing this for a long time, I have, from what I've seen, when both parties are contributing to the relationship in all the aspects, even financially, that relationship tends to work a lot better. Okay. I know old school guys, we like to say, we want, the staple of being a man is being able to take care of everything. Yeah. But that was when women couldn't work. That was when we were forced to take care of everything. Now our beautiful women are making more than we are. And if you got a woman like that, that's a plus. That should never be an intimidating factor, right? That's a plus. But we should be able to say, let's do this together. If we're a partner, if we're a team, then let's act like a team. Okay. I say leadership in a relationship is on a sliding scale. When it comes to leadership, the man should be up front, but guess what? There are also strengths that women have that overshadow ours. Guess what? Step back and let her take that role when it's time for her to take that role. Whether that be finances or whatever. And they are stronger in finances than we are, believe it or not. So, I just think that we should be sharing in everything that we do in the household, and not just one person paying everything or 50-50 and all this other crap. Do what works for you, but I've seen that contributing partners have the best relationship. And let's see, last but not least, I do encourage everybody to study the Rockefeller waterfall, learn about that, and try to incorporate it in your household. That's true generational wealth right there. That's why to this day they still going strong and some of the richest people in the world. So that's all I got, Q. Thanks for letting me shut it down.
All right, well, what are you doing? You running for office? Dope discussion says, all right, Will, you preaching. So Crystal says Bobby's a sweetheart.
I love my man eater.
All right, it's almost Valentine's Day. Y'all get around.
Yeah, I know, right? I get flowers on the way, baby girl.
All right, and dope discussion says financial literacy and generational wealth. Spread the knowledge.
Yeah, spread the knowledge.
All right, cool. All right, well, thanks a lot, people. The next Talk to Q will air Sunday, February the 11th at 2 p.m. to celebrate the show's 13th birthday. So I officially have a teenager now. The show started in 2011. The next live show will return on Tuesday, February the 13th. There hasn't been a topic solidified as of yet, but I'm trying to secure some guests to discuss dressing your age. Okay. So stay tuned for more details on that. Visit talktoq.com to keep up what's going on. And my thanks to the guests for joining the show. Hang on for me. While I wrap this up, I'll go ahead and put you backstage if you all can hang out for a second. And my thanks to them. Again, please like, share, subscribe to help the show grow. Follow me on social media, all things Talk to Q. And we'll see you next time. You've been checking out the Talk to Q radio show. No experts, just opinions. All right.